Hi, this is Pastor Brian. I want to thank you for joining me as we read a chapter from Ecclesiastes a day. Today we read chapter 8. I will be reading from the Common English Bible, and I hope you follow along in whatever translation you appreciate and enjoy reading the most. So, chapter 8. Who is wise? And who knows the meaning of anything? A person's wisdom brightens the expression. It changes the hardness of someone's face. Keep the king's command as you would keep a solemn pledge. Don't be dismayed. Leave his presence. Don't linger in a harmful situation because he can do whatever he wants. Because the king's word has authority. No one can say to him, "What are you doing?" Whoever keeps a command will meet no harm, and the wise heart knows the right time and the right way, because there's a right time and a right way for every matter. But human misfortunes are overwhelming because no one knows what will happen, and no one can say when something might happen. No one has control over the life breath to retain it, and there's no control over the day of death. There's no release from war, and wickedness won't deliver those who practice it. I observed all of this as I paid attention to all that happens under the sun. Sometimes people exercise power over each other to their detriment. When I saw the wicked brought to their graves with people processing from a holy place, while those who had lived honestly were neglected in the city. This too is pointless. The condemnation for wicked acts isn't carried out quickly. That's why people dare to do evil. Wrongdoers may commit 100 crimes but still live long lives. But I also know that it will go well for those who fear God, for those who are reverent before God. But it will not go well for the wicked. They won't live long at all because they aren't reverent before God. Here's another thing that happens on earth that is pointless. The righteous get what the wicked deserve, and the wicked get what the righteous deserve. I say that this too is pointless. So I commend enjoyment because there's nothing better for people to do under the sun but eat, drink, and be glad. This is what will accompany them in their hard work during the lifetime that God gives under the sun. Then I set my mind to know wisdom and observe the business that happens on earth, even going without sleep day and night. I observed all the work of God, that no one can grasp what happens under the sun. Those who strive to know can't grasp it. Even the wise who are set on knowing are unable to grasp it. So, again, as always, what is it that stuck out to you? What was it that was meaningful or thought-provoking for you? Two of the things that really stuck out for me, one was that basically, whether you are good or wicked, life will just happen. And sometimes bad things happen to good people, like we constantly struggle with in our lives. And sometimes good things will happen to bad people. But that fearing and loving God is better than anything else in this life. That will actually make a difference in this life. What I also found interesting about this text, the second thing that I mentioned, is that at the very end, it talks about how wisdom and the works of God, none of that can be grasped, and yet at the same time, it seems like all of these chapters talk about how the author is constantly observing things under the sun, trying to understand it, and yet at the same time recognizing that trying to understand is pointless. So I wonder what it is exactly that the author is trying to grasp and understand and get at with trying to understand the world and yet knowing that maybe you just can't get it completely. at least not the way in which God understands the world. I recently told someone that from Isaiah 55, I believe, verses 8 and 9, that God's ways are not our ways, and God's wisdom is nothing like our wisdom, and that God's ways are higher than our ways, and God's wisdom is beyond ours. So while we do our best to understand God in this life and follow the example of Jesus, know that that is what we are called to do, to live out a life following Christ's example and loving God and loving neighbor, while also understanding that maybe we won't get it all. And that sometimes, no matter how much we stick to following Christ's example, we will fall and we will do things that wicked people do, and that bad things will happen to us. And that is the way of life, and that God doesn't love us any less because of it. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I look forward to joining you tomorrow. Thanks for checking in. Take care. And remember to share some of your thoughts and ideas about today's text with someone. God bless you all.